Hey everyone, I just had some realizations recently and I want to talk about them in regards to manifestation. And I've been involved with manifestation kind of briefly at this point. I'm not that deep into it, but I realize its power and I'm doing it seriously. I'm practicing it seriously. I don't have that much knowledge on it, but I learned a few things recently and I want to talk about this. All right. So there's people like like Stevie Wonder, and I watched an interview with Robert Greene recently, and he tries to explain Stevie Wonder's uh, his he tries to explain you know that Stevie Wonder became good through hours and hours of practice. He became Stevie Wonder through hard work, practice, and understanding his instrument and being creative and this and that. And he did. Yeah, that is true. But I think one thing that Robert Greene doesn't explain is the spiritual element of Stevie Wonder, and and that whole other subject. And I think Stevie Wonder manifested his life. He manifested it. He manifested his impact in music. He manifested all that stuff. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here in this room and like play the piano all day. No, it was he had visions. He had and those visions resulted. They caused him to practice and work on music all the time and be thinking about it all the time. Those visions did. It wasn't the work ethic that created his success. It was his focus on. It was his manifestation, his vision, which naturally caused him to work at music, and then it resulted in his life being the way it was and who he was as a musician. Now, the thing about Robert Greene is, I read his book Mastery, and he tries to deduce a lot of great, impactful artists. He tries to deduce them into like their formula is basically, they work hard, they practice, and then they learn, and they also are creative. They have a mix of knowledge from different areas, and they create from that. But the problem is he completely misses the element of manifestation, which I believe is the biggest part of this whole story. The biggest part of these master story is that of manifestation. And but here's the thing. Because we don't understand it that well, a lot of people will shy away from discussing that. We don't understand it that well. So Robert Greene, as we as humans do not understand this concept very well, we will try to, avoid discussing it. It's like, the quote where if you only have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right? So basically, Robert Greene tries to deduce things, mastery down to, work ethic, an apprenticeship and creative process. But he completely lacks talking about the biggest element, which is manifestation, which is having your life created by your thoughts, having everything created by your thoughts. So, and I would say that I am a person who's experienced that. I've been in multiple different camps in life. I've been the logical camp. I've been the intuitive camp, and now I'm more in the manifestation camp, right? So here's what I can tell you. As a musician, when I would, I didn't had different phases. Okay, when I was starting out, after a certain period of time, I was very, very deeply in love with the idea of being a really great guitarist, right? And there's like I was very deeply connected to that dream. Like it was something that like I would skip school to work on my guitar playing and all that stuff. I would, and I was also very like envy. Like I would get not envious, but I'd be very defensive of like if someone says someone's better than me, I'd be like, no, they're not. And then and if they were, I would like practice my ass off to, show them that like I'm better or whatever. It was like my way of finding. It was weird because I guess it was like my identity or something. Being a great guitarist was my identity, and sure enough, I became very good very quickly. I used to go to guitar stores, and then I literally had I was like 13, 14 at the time. I would have professional guitar professional musicians knock on my house, the door at my house, and ask my mom if they could record my playing. They would literally record my playing and be like, they would say, I'd play at guitar stores, and then they'd be like, "What's your name?" Like, and I'm like, I'd tell them my name, and they're like, "I'm gonna look you up in 5 years." They would say something like that. So I was very, 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 very talented with the guitar. Like, I learned things extremely fast. I was doing virtuosic stuff. I was doing. I learned Far Beyond the Sun by ear. My first year of playing. That's the Yngwie Malmsteen song. I did that by ear, and I performed it like flawlessly. In concert. The first time I played it in a concert. But here's the crazy part. All right, so back then when I was starting out, I used to have like after high school I went to school for music, right? And I would have performances where I'd have people come up and say they had chills down their spine, right? I would have stuff like that, and my mentality back then was it was extremely driven by manifestation. I was dreaming of being this great musician, and that dream was the thing that's causing me to practice. It's the thing that's causing me to learn. That dream, that vision, that desire to be something. And feeling like I am it for a period of time, it would cause me to really hone my craft. But that hard work, or that I guess work ethic, didn't feel like work because I was pursuing a dream. You know what I mean? So the source of my performances being the way they were, and these remarks that I would get afterwards, and the loud clapping and all that, that was not a result of hard work per se. That was a result of manifestation. The hard work, I guess you could call it, that was that I put in, or the pursuit of vision, that was a result of manifestation. Okay, so basically, when you manifest something, reality aligns in a way that makes it in the 3D, like in reality. I guess you could say you call it 3D. Nabil Godard calls the subconscious mind 4D, and he calls the physical reality that we're experiencing now, he calls that 3D. So in 4D, it was real. I was this great musician, and then in 3D, that presented itself over time. It presented itself. It was real. Over time, it became real in 3D. Now, here's the thing. When I was in college, I wanted to go to a conservatory in France because I was so impressed by one guitarist. I was like, I want to go learn from this guy. And I did. I actually worked. It was very weird how it happened because it's so surprising I ended up in Paris. It was so unbelievable. Think about this. This was pure manifestation affecting reality. Think about the odds of this. Okay, I'm getting ready for the audition to the conservatory in Paris, right? And basically, I just had this vision. I was like, I'm gonna go to Paris, and like I'm gonna be one of these great musicians. I'm gonna work with the greatest guitarist there, whatever, right? I had this, and I was so motivated by it. I was so inspired by like the actual city and the musicians there and the history and just the artists there are just incredible. And I was so inspired. And that goal or vision, or whatever, it came out of nowhere. I was just like, that's what I want. I want to that's where my heart is taking me. And the crazy thing was, I had a classmate who was envious of me. Okay, I'm going to be frank. This guy was envious. He did not like me. He was envious of my playing. I was a much better player than him, and he did not like that. And he was older than me. He was a master's student while I was a undergrad freshman. I was a sophomore at the time. And basically, he spoke French. This guy was like part Canadian. I didn't speak French. I actually went and started taking an intensive French course to get there. Now, this is incredible. Okay, so I took this intensive French course, and but here's the thing: the audition for the conservatory is very difficult to find. Right? I couldn't find that where it was on the site, etc. And basically, so I couldn't find information on it, like the repertoire, what I have to play, this and that, what is that, blah, blah, blah. And I basically asked this French guy, I was like Canadian guy, I was like, hey, could you help me figure this out? I'm trying to prepare for this audition. Can you figure out like the repertoire? Is there a set repertoire, things I have to play, or can I just play whatever I want? And then he was like, okay, I'll figure it out for you. I see him the next week and he's like, oh, it seems you could just like, play whatever you want. He knew that wasn't true, by the way. He knew it. He was doing that because he's, he doesn't want anything good for me. So he's an envious guy. So basically I trusted him though, because I was an idiot and I was 19 years old. And I trusted him, and I was just getting ready a random repertoire. Now, 3 months before the audition, I actually go and I remember I actually performed at the school I was at in New York, and after the performance, I had I was outside. I was in a really good mood because I thought I did a good job, and I was outside, and this guitarist is out there by the name of I'm not going to say names, but let's just say he's a very, 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 very good player. He won some of the biggest tournaments in the world for classical guitar, etc. He's a very good player. He's, in my opinion, the best technician on the guitar in the world today, for sure. Not even close. He's the best I've ever seen. But anyways, I was there at I was basically outside the building, and I was really happy and proud of my performance, and I was meeting some people, and then this guy walks up and he's like, I liked your playing. It was very articulate. I was like, he had a French accent. I was like, oh, thanks, man. And then I was like, are you from New York? He says, no, I'm from France. And then I got really excited because I'm like, I'm trying to get to Paris. I'm trying to do the music stuff in Paris, blah, blah, blah. And right then and there he said, let me know if you want to prepare with me. I actually went to that school. So out of the blue, I just meet this dude who was at my performance outside the school. He's just standing there. His girlfriend's smoking a cigarette, and we just get into a conversation. And he says, I'm here for a few months. Let me know if you want to prepare. Now, right, the first day I got to his apartment. So we scheduled an appointment. And I got to his apartment in Queens. He was staying in Queens at the time. And I pull out my guitar, and I'm like, I play a piece, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be playing this over there. And he's looking at me, like, after I play it, he's looking at me kind of bewildered. And I was like, what's wrong? And he's just like, that isn't part of the repertoire at all. That's not what you're supposed to play. And I was like, oh, shit, there's a set repertoire? And I was really surprised because I remember that Canadian guy was like, oh, no, you could, like, play whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm sitting there kind of, like, shell-shocked that he said that. And then he went to the computer, and he told me the actual repertoire, and I was like, oh, shit. And it's like 2 to 3 months. Basically, I had 2 to 3 months to prepare for it. So yeah, it was wild. There's more to this story that I won't get into right now, but basically, let's just say this. I ended up getting to Paris, and I lived there for 2 years. And if I didn't meet Thomas Villotto, I wouldn't have been in Paris. And also, the odds of meeting him were so small. We're so unbelievably small. I have no idea who he is. He has no idea who I am. His girlfriend, I don't know what she's like, she does videos for like different musicians and this and that. And I guess she came to record a video it was like a school performance. So there's other students who also played that night. But I guess she came to just like do recording, and he was just kind of like there as a passerby. But yeah, he gave me like super intensive lessons after, and I started going twice a week. My playing got to another level. And basically, when I went to Europe, oh man, I did the audition at Geneva. And man, the professor at the Geneva Conservatory was like, he was just really impressed by my playing. He was like complimenting me a lot after. It was just extraordinary. So that's how manifestation works. You have a vision in your mind. You internalize it deeply, and it will eventually show in 3D. But you have to you should consistently be in that state. When someone wants something so badly, there's almost a part of them that believes they have it. And that's how manifestation a lot of time happens. Not when they want it per se, but when it's when you feel you are it. You are it. So a lot of times some people want something so deeply that they feel they are it and they're destined to have it. And that's when it comes to them. But it's just very interesting how that works. And when you look at it, the odds of something like that happening are so slim. They're so small. Like what happened to me. I've had other stories, but here's the thing. I'm going to go a little further on this. Okay, so when after I started working with him, I started changing my mentality around the instrument and around music, and that's kind of for a period of time where I lost my touch, that factor where I'd have people say they had chills down their spine, this and that, because I lost connection with the source, which is the manifestation. I started dreaming something else. I started thinking, I started becoming like, my mentality stopped being, of this specific manifestations I had throughout my childhood, and it started becoming more about playing cleanly, playing perfectly, playing accurately, doing things the right way, and being very highly skilled, being quote unquote musical. A manifestation is, in my opinion, the biggest part of musicality. I don't think you could do on an instrument, you could do all the musical effects properly, but if they are not expressed through manifestation, if they're not connected to a vision that is guiding them, guiding the playing, it's not going to be. Basically, here's what I'm saying. The power of your performance is not related to how clean you are, how perfectly you play, how musically you play. It's related to your manifestation, the power of your manifestation. That's how powerful performances are made. When I was in early years of high school, I didn't know much about, all these technicalities and playing perfectly and musical ideas and all that stuff. I didn't know that stuff. No, but I dreamt of a manifestation. I dreamt visions, okay? And those visions became real. They became real. So I dreamt of performances that would have an impact, or playing. I dreamt of myself being a musician who had a strong effect on people, very musically, very heartfeltedly, and that's what would happen. And when I stopped that vision and I changed it for something less brilliant, my playing became less brilliant. Even though I became quote unquote more skilled, more technically capable, it didn't have that it factor. It lost the it factor. Okay? Now, Stevie Wonder's a really good example of that, because Stevie Wonder is not always doing everything technically correct, right? What they say technically correct. A lot of singers are critiquing his way of singing and this and that. But regardless of what he does, his music is very, very powerful and has very strong impact on people. The reason is because it's correlated and it's directly springing from a manifestation or manifestations that are exactly in equality as powerful as the music that you're hearing. These manifestations created it. I don't know exactly what Stevie Wonder manifested or what he kept in his mind, but I can hear it. I could hear it through his music, and his music is effect from manifestation most of all. All the work in the world, all the effort, the work ethic, the study, the musicality you put into it, etc., can't make up for that. That is the one thing, because I feel it's there's a composer named Nadia Boulanger. She was actually a teacher, and she taught like amazing musicians. She taught Leonard Bernstein. She taught Astor Piazzolla, and she talks about that it factor in one of her videos. You can see it on YouTube. They're like, there's certain musicians or artists who have this sort of, there's something that comes out that's like miraculous. And she says that you could try to explain it all you want, but it's God. That's God. That's God being expressed through whatever they're doing. I think that's around what she said. And basically, that's what I'm saying. So I'm a huge believer in manifestation at this point. And quantum mechanics now is starting to uncover how the mind is correlated with physical reality. I don't know if you guys ever heard, I think it's called the double slit experiment. It's when I think they shot a photon or electron, and they, depending on what they would expect, they would shoot an electron in a specific direction, right? And what they noticed was when they're observing it, it would do exactly as they expected it to do, like as they would assume it to do. But when they were not observing it and they shot it, they noticed that it did not follow any sort of predictable movement. It would be in a scattered direction or movement. But when they're looking at it and they're focusing on it and expecting it to do something, it would do exactly as they expected. So your expectations and your assumptions have a direct effect on the physical matter around you and circumstances and things that occur. They also did there's been so many experiments with this at this point. We just don't know how to make sense of it yet. We don't understand how this stuff works. The quantum level is a lot more perplexing and very weakly understood than we'd like to believe. But it's our first, glimpse into the fact that, okay, life is not all explainable, it seems. Life is not, this reality we live in is, there's another side to it. You can't explain everything through math, it seems, at this point. There's at the quantum level, our sense of logic doesn't seem to work. So again, human beings are, blessed with a specific specific levels of understanding things. We have different approaches to understanding things, whether it's a, intuitive approach, whether it's using science, whether it's using physics, whether it's using math, whether it's using, logic. We have different standpoints in which we could understand reality. But just like an ant can't see, or a fish, just like a fish can't, will probably never see the, Sahara Desert, and look around and walk around it and understand everything about it. Just like a fish is limited, so are we. We are limited we have 5 senses, but there's a lot more occurring around us than we'll ever be able to perceive and understand, in my opinion. So, these limits are, the reason a lot of people don't believe in manifestation, because they can't understand it and they don't have a way to concretely prove its truth. But here's the thing. Nabil said in his book, he said, any sort of explanation or scientific proof will not work as well in convincing you as your own personal experience. So we don't know how these things work. We just have to kind of sit back and realize we don't know exactly how it works. But we can deduce from practicing it, it actually does have an effect and it does work. So we can do that from experience. We can try something, test something like the ladder experiment, for instance, and we could see it's working. That's what I wanted to say. And this is my first video on this subject, but I'm very interested by it, and I think it's real. And I think it's a very missing element in people's understanding. It's great that more and more information is coming about it that is convincing people. But my life is a so far, even though I haven't been intentionally practicing it, and I just recently started intentionally practicing it, I did unintentionally practice it in the past. And I look back at things and I'm like, this was a result of manifestation. It's not just coincidence. What happened in my past is not just coincidence. It's manifestation. So by the way, guys, a few manifestation exercises that I use. And if you guys have any ideas, I'd love if you put in the comments. Okay, so number one, visualizing at night. You know, if you visualize before you sleep, you know, your dreams, things you want, but you visualize them in first person. So you, like, if you're going to a cafe in Paris or something, you visualize you're opening the door, you're smelling the baguettes and all that, and you're hearing the person ask you in French, like, what would you want, or something, or with a French accent. But you see that in first person, like you're actually there. You don't do it in third person where you see yourself from a bird's eye view entering the cafe or whatever. You do it in first person. And then also sometimes your head is in, a negative space. And what you want to do, one of the best things to do in that regard is affirmations. They could help you change your frequency, your specific state. It could help you pull you out of a negative state. So last night, for instance, I was not in a positive state, and I was trying to visualize, but it wasn't having an emotional effect. So then I tried to do I did the affirmations instead, and it put me in the state. So it changed my frequency really quickly. But yeah, before you sleep is a very important time, and also morning. So realize this. And also you have to disconnect from 3D a bit. You have to just, like, if things quote unquote bad happen to you, realize that it could be everything, the manifestation actually going in its favor. Don't react emotionally to 3D events, okay? Just let go. Don't react emotionally to 3D events, because here's the thing. On 9/11, for instance, certain people had really bizarre situations where, like I was supposed to go to work at the Twin Towers that morning, but, I woke up in the morning and somehow my keys were missing. Like I must have misplaced them, but I never do that. They were missing, and I wasn't able to make it to work on time, and that saved my life. There's people talking about that. That happened to a lot of people on 9/11. Like a lot of people, by just random, chance, by quote unquote negative circumstances, right? Losing your key, the taxi driver going the wrong direction and getting stuck in traffic, this and that. Because of that, they survived. So don't think of things bad or good. Just think of, if you're manifesting, what you're manifesting will happen. It will happen in 3D. The reality is just aligning itself to make it so. Also, one thing I want to talk about in terms of practice as a musician or an artist or anything you do. Here's something I noticed about Conor McGregor. You know the fighter Conor McGregor? I observe very closely a lot of people, right? And Conor McGregor is one of these people I observed. He's a fighter. He has totally nothing to do with what I do, but I studied, like, his mindset, his mentality, and his approach. When he started out, when he was like going to the UFC, and he was at the time when he was like versing Jose Aldo, Conor McGregor had a very, very unorthodox approach. He wasn't following any routine. Routine kills things, in my opinion. Routine's really bad. I think it's a negative thing that if you do routine without listening to intuition. Because a lot of times your intuition will tell you to do something completely different, and you should listen to that. But anyways, Conor McGregor was, he basically was not following a routine when he versed Jose Aldo. And he was actually going to the gym, and his coach was just having him, his coach would just leave him alone, and then Conor McGregor would do his own thing. He'd decide what to do. He would just go and do random shit. when he'd go to the gym. And his coach was just like hands off. He just let him do his thing. But Conor McGregor, he had a vision in his mind of finishing the match with Jose Aldo very quickly. Okay? And when the match came up, he won within 13 seconds. Okay? Fastest UFC knockout at the time, I think. And they asked him about it afterwards, and he was like, I visualized that so many times. I visualized it, that exact situation happening so many times, and it happened. Okay? It happened. Now, and Conor McGregor, by the way, is big on manifestation. Now, here's the next part. Now, Conor McGregor also had his demise. So, after a certain point, Conor McGregor started following a routine. I think he was less, the money got to him. He stopped manifesting, I think, and he started following a routine and a structure. And that is when he started failing. Because when you're manifesting, you're going to naturally do certain things. Your intuition's you're going to end up doing those things. As long as you're manifesting, reality will align itself. If you're manifesting on being a great pianist, for instance, you will naturally practice. Your intuition, your subconscious will get you there, and you will be doing it. You won't have to push yourself. They asked Steve Vai this. It was like, Steve Vai said, I never worked a day in my life. He's one of the greatest guitarists of all time. He said, I never worked a day in my life because I was always just chasing a dream, right? He was just following his dreams. So basically, Conor McGregor, he took a different approach where he stopped the dream. He stopped letting his dream and his intuition guide him towards the result, and he started following a routine. And routines a lot of times destroy things. I'm telling you this the most solid way, because here's the thing. The formula a routine gives you, the process, is not the same process that your manifestation will set for you. Almost never. The process that manifestation gives you, that makes the vision come true, is a very, very intuitive process, and is very unorthodox most of the time, and it's very natural, and it doesn't involve you trying with your conscious mind to devise a strategy or plan. Your subconscious, which is a lot more powerful, already is at work at it. It's already at work, and it's far more capable than your conscious strategic thinking. It's a supercomputer. Right? Bruce Lipton talked about this. He said, don't focus on the how, focus on the end. Focus on the end. Okay? So, yeah. Conor McGregor started, following a routine by his coach, and it was a strict routine. It was hard work. And that's when he started falling down. He started losing a lot. He started doing a terrible job in the ring. He lost his that it factor, which, in my opinion, that it factor comes from manifestation. But anyways, guys, this is real, and I've just been noticing this very, very carefully. If you look at, you'll probably notice this in a lot of people that you see succeed and fail. There's manifestation is always at play. It's always at play in people's lives, whether they realize it or not. Also, one other thing, I think. I was reading Nabil Godard. You want to, what I do is, I have my affirmations on the left side of the page. And then on the right side I have a journal. The left page, I have my affirmations. And then on the right side, I have what I want, like what I want. And then underneath that, I write down like brief scenes of what would happen if it occurred. And I replay those in my mind often. Like before I sleep or when I wake up. And those scenes are always scenes after having received what I want. So if I want to win a piano tournament, right, I imagine afterwards that I'm in first person at a bar, and my friends are walking up to me and saying, that was amazing. You did such a good job. That was crazy. You won first place. That's just so wild. And I'm standing there like I'm feeling like really proud and grateful. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And you replay scenes like that until you really feel that way. A feeling mixed with vision turns into reality. A feeling mixed with vision turns into reality. That's from, I think. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still kind of new to this, but that's how I'm thinking it is. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. And if you guys want more, I'll definitely post more things, more insights that I find. Okay, bye.